So, JB, how did you get involved in Wayfinder?
I think initially it was an audition that came up through, as most of the stuff does. But there was something interesting about the artwork and the style that was slightly different than what I was used to with. And then as soon as I laid it down and they were interested, I was like, okay, this is now going to be something that's going to be fun. And then from the first session, it was immediately, fascinating and different, and the characters were really clearly drawn. It's also just very exciting getting in on the ground level of one of these size of games, because these are the popular mode of game now. These are the genres that people are loving, and I've been lucky enough to be involved in a few of them. I get to direct Overwatch, and I'm in Apex Legends and stuff, and so it's really interesting that you can be a part of several different ones of these franchises, but each one has its own feel, its own unique set of characters, its own unique sets of lore, and so this one was just like, it was immediately interesting, and it's funny, I very rarely get to play heroes. I play either father figures who die early or bad guys. And bad guys are fun, but it's nice and refreshing to play a hero for once, who may or may not have an interesting past. I think the nice thing about getting on the ground level of these is that you gradually get to sort of unwrap the character and more gets revealed. And so often in games, you come in and you play that character and then you're done, you're out, and it's over. This gets to develop, hopefully, for a long time if they don't screw it up.
Do you have a personal preference on like heroes, villains, or neutral characters?
Bad guys are always more fun to play. The important thing is that you mustn't play a bad guy. You're just playing a guy who feels like he's misunderstood. He's not bad. As far as he's concerned, everything's fine.
You're the good guy.
He's like a spoiled toddler. He throws his toys out of the pram when things don't go his way. So as soon as you start kind of playing the bad guy, it kind of becomes arch. So it's always, you're always going for as realistic a character as you can, and then the challenge is you're a realistic character in this incredible sort of fantasy world. And that's why, working on things like WoW is so fun, is because how does an ogre talk to his son?
Yeah.
How does an orc deal with his marriage problems? It's like being Tony Soprano. I get dogs in my pool. I don't know what So it's kind of like thugs with a heart. Well, that's interesting.
You mentioned you still had to audition. Your line of work is so diverse. Like, you've done so much stuff. Like, do you get direct offers, or do you still have to audition like everyone else does?
I do get direct offers, but it's always surprising to find out there are people who haven't heard of JB Blanc. I'm kidding. No, I mean,
you know who I am,
you have
right?
any idea who I'm not? I'm not insulted by being asked to audition for stuff.
Right, there's still due process.
People want your angle on the character. So basically, casting people have a problem, and you're there to offer a solution. It might not be the right solution or the solution they were looking for. There might not be a right solution. You're just going to make your offer and see if that sticks. And if you're lucky, it sticks. I think there's a combination of wanting to, like at Respawn, I'd worked with people before and other stuff, and so then Jedi Survivor came on and all that kind of stuff. That and Fallen Order, and so you develop relationships over time. I think you're successful because you're old. That's so sad. You're just around. All I'm doing is I never get insulted by being asked to audition. You're just being asked to make an offer, and your take on the character might stick and it might not, but that's okay.
What's the biggest misconception from an outsider looking in at your career?
That it's easy to do, that you walk into a booth and talk. I'm sort of against the term voice acting because it's acting. I tell this story a lot, but people come up to me all the time and say, "Hey, dude, I'm told I got a great voice. I should do voice acting." I say, I have a really nice pen, but I'm not a writer. And I think the misconception is that you're doing a voice, and you're not. You're playing a character, and the voice comes secondary. So I tell this example a lot, but I played Bane in Arkham Origins. When I arrived for the session, I didn't know what game I was in, and I didn't know what character I was playing. I walk in, and Roger Craig Smith and some young hack called Troy Baker, I think, some fool,
Some bloke,
some geezer. I'm like, guys, they're old friends, and I was like, what is this? And they were like, what, you don't know? I'm like, no. Troy goes, well, he's Batman, I'm Joker, and you're Bane. I'm like, what? And so in 5 minutes, I've got to come up with that character voice, and we decided that Bane was very intelligent, and but he's a huge big, so we came up with this very deep voice, and they wanted him Latino as well. So you kind of find that kind of, you find the voice as a result of the character, as a result of, the choices that the character makes. So I think the misconception is that you're doing voices. You're finding characters, and then the voices come secondarily to that.
Now, I'm not an actor, but has that stuff gotten better as, in recent years with, you getting prepared for the character, seeing the script, seeing visuals of the character, at least what they look like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone will be insulted when I say that, for years, games, you've got the Unreal Engine, which is essentially, that's your engine that's running the game, and then they plug functionality, they create functionality, and they plug it into that engine and make it work. And I think for a long time, voiceover was thought of as something that was another functionality. Now I think we're in a very exciting phase, which is that developers are understanding the development of character from the beginning in tandem with the development of the game. That's where it starts getting interesting. And then with these, MP and MOBA games, these massive sandbox games, you get to develop those characters over long periods of time. And so you can really go somewhere with characters. Until you die. In some cases, that's a little earlier than in others. But, they used to get Janice from Accounts to do a couple of voices. And it showed early Silent Hill. And now, we're so happy because the energy of the developers is so infectious. Their love of their story is so infectious that we want to be a part of that. And that's where the fun happens. You're developing that in studio together. It's amazing.
My last question for you, and I just want to kind of get a feeling is, that the SAG-AFTRA stuff is happening. Something happened in the voice acting community recently with the strike. How is that going to affect your work going forward?
This is the existential fight of our lives, because I think there are people out there who think we're replaceable. I don't think AI can do what we can do. I don't think you'll get the nuance and the passion and the involvement. I think what people don't realize is that the full adoption of AI is going to kill company culture, it's going to kill society. And I don't think it's just a gaming problem or a film and TV problem. It is everyone's problem. Everyone's jobs are up for being replaced. So I think this is the fight for all of humanity, really. I do think so. And if you still want us doing what we do and bringing the nuance that we can bring, then we've got to make a stand on this. And they'll understand, because it really is the fight to end all fights, I think.
Dude, if you could voice anybody right now, like this, be hired, get your dream rate, who would you want to voice? Yes, I can. What character would you want to play, whether it be television, film, or video games?
I mean, who hasn't always wanted to play the Joker? Who hasn't always wanted to play Batman? Yeah, I'd say those two are pretty high on the list. Yeah, you could. Yeah. I'm not moody enough, I don't think, but I can be if you ask me to.
You got range, man. You got range. You can.
They try and say me. They tell me I have. We'll see. But if they're out there, I'll take it.